Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a rebroadcast of our earlier show that was disturbed by connectivity issues. We are glad that we are able to come back within a short time. We want to apologize for all the hiccups, but we hope you are able to at least get the current vibes as to what is happening on the African continent with respect to soccer. And with me on set today, as always, is veteran journalist, veteran sports journalist, Fon Echekiye. We came on earlier on for a little bit and had some issues with, connectivity. He, I could hear him clearly, but he couldn't hear me. But now, let's get back on set. And I started off by asking you what was new, and we started off talking about Feka food. But let's get back to that and see what is new, Fon.
Now, what is new is that Samuel Etofi is the president of Feka Food, sworn into office sometime in the December of 2021. That was the 11th of December to be precise. Is giving much meaning to his manifesto at the time. He's decided to take the football to the people and try to make the marriage between football made in Cameroon and Cameroonians a holy one, a holy marriage. So what is he trying to do? He's putting what we can describe as square pegs in square holes and making sure that people are appointed to positions of responsibilities based on merit. What has happened? The latest thing is that he's decided to appoint to positions of responsibility the former defensive midfielder of the Cameroon national football team. His name is Saidu Alioum. He's been appointed to the position of the head coach of the national intermediate team. He is being assisted in that assignment by Pius Ndiefi. Now, what's the national intermediate team? It is a team composed of players of the various countries on the African continent. So that is a team that takes part in what you call the African football championships. So they are in charge of that team. Alium, Saidu, and Pius Ndiefi. Now, how did he go about it? I think Etofi has decided to imagine that if he could agree with these players on the field or in the field, and in years gone by, he could equally agree with them administratively. So Alium Saidu is a player who began his trade in Cotonsport of Garoua. Then subsequently, in the year 1999, he was taken over to Turkey, where he played in 5 different clubs. He has played 290 matches during his professional career in Turkey, and then having a 1-year break. That was way back, I think, would have been in 2006, where he spent a year in Nantes. That he spent most of his time in Turkey, and with the Cameroon national football team, Saidu Alioum played from 2003 to 2008, making 15 appearances as a defensive midfielder and scoring a total of 2 goals. Well, that's to be expected as a defensive midfielder. Now, what is that Pius Ndiefi, who is 3 years older than Alioum, that is, he's 47, whereas Alioum is 44, has been appointed as the deputy coach of that team. Pius Ndiefi came in from Ikata Farmers and played for PW de Bamenda in 1992, and then from 1993 to 2012, he moved over and played in France. And so he has been playing his professional football basically in France. With the Cameroon national team, he played from 2000 to 2005. Alioum played from 2003 to 2008. Pius Ndiefi played from 2000 to 2005. And those were the years when Etofi was a regular player for the Cameroon national team. So I imagine that he is telling himself that if they could agree so well when they played in the field, it is possible that they can agree administratively as well. So one can now understand why he decides to appoint people to positions of responsibility that he knows all too well. That aside, Etofi has decided to kind of switch on the administrative lamps, lights of Feka food. Teams now know when the next championship will begin. They know when they will have the break. They know when the World Cup preparations will begin. And they know when the season is going to end. So all of that was thrown light and brought out in a press briefing that he had this past week. He went to the Yaoundé Hilton Hotel, where alongside the officials of the of UNDP Cameroon, they agreed on putting together financial resources to build stadiums for Cameroon. And one of the stadiums they want to build in Cameroon is going to be a stadium in Bamenda, and they're going to be spending 1.5 billion francs to build that stadium. So those are some of the things that Ethiopians has been doing to make life in Fecafoot active and alive, as it were. Lambert?
Thank you very much, Fon. Not again. I don't know why this is happening now again, but can you hear me, Fon?
I can get you, but your volume, the sound of your audio has dropped. But I can hear you.
How is that now?
I see myself frozen there. But are you getting me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
All right. It will from there.
We absolutely need to do something about these connectivity issues, and we should get some broadcast technicians to help us.
Are you getting me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Me shortly, I imagine.
Right. So again, yeah. Okay. So you gave us a rundown of the things at the TOFIS, and my question for you before we left was, I mean, is Eto just appointing his friends, or is it that these people are really technical? I know many people are happy that we have finally football being managed by footballers. So I don't know whether that's a good thing, or again, what's the competency of these people that he's appointing?
Well, what I can say for now is that Lambert, I don't think that you're going to appoint an enemy of yours to a position of responsibility. So he doesn't just stay at the level of appointing his friends. I think he's appointing people who can deliver. Remember, I said that these are players with whom he played in the field. They understood themselves well. The mechanical contrivance between himself and those players was so effective that he thinks that they can equally take that understanding in the field of play to the administrative bench of the Fecafoot management. Now, if you look at Pius Ndiefi, for example, when he was leaving football entirely as a player, at some point he became what they call a footballer and coach. He became a footballer and coach. So you could see that he already has some of the rudimentary equipment or knowledge of coaching in the game of football. So if they accept to take what Estofis is offering them as a challenge, then I think they think that they can rise to the occasion. So I don't think that he's really appointing them just because they are friends. Otherwise, he would appoint every other friend. But I think if you go very closely and look at these players who have been appointed in positions of responsibility as coaches for the teams, those players, I think, can deliver until they prove the contrary.
Yeah, let's go to the MTN Elite Championship, because I think that's one of the things you mentioned too. I don't know, those of us who, maybe because we have followed soccer in Cameroon in a very shallow manner. What is it with respect to the money? Because it seems there's 46 million that each team is going to receive.
Now, what he said when he took office is that he was going to put more money in the pockets of the players. Before he came into office, the money the players were being given the money the players were given was 23 million francs. So he vowed that he was going to double that amount. So I think between 23 million francs and 48, it is exactly 2 times 2 plus 2. So he just lived up to his promise of making the players have more money for themselves, because he knows fully well that no player can play very well and deliver the goods if they don't have enough money in their pockets, if they don't eat well, if they don't take care of their families, if they don't take care of other aspects of their lifestyle, then they cannot play well. So they know that they need money to be able to clear away some of those things that can disturb them when they're in the field of play. So making sure that each team has 48 million francs as opposed to 23 million francs, I think it's a laudable initiative. And we just have to just give him the kudos for having lived up to his pre-campaign bid.
Well, let's see how that works. I'm sure soccer is finally becoming a very lucrative business in Cameroon with Eto'o at the helm. Because I remember before the end of this last season, the there was some money that Fekafood had disbursed to the teams, and he needed receipts, and seemingly was not getting the receipts and was already getting on the necks of the bosses of these teams. So we are hoping that with Eto'o coming in and taking over the reins of Fekafood, we are going to have football developed properly in Cameroon. Players are properly taken care of. Our teams are managed by locals, and we can again perform adequately. But how far are we? I mean, where are we with the preparations for
No,
the?
we've now what is happening at what level are we now in the local championship? We are at the level of at the males in the males categories. We are at the level of the teams looking forward to the final of the Football Cup of Cameroon, which is going to pit Bambutus Football Club of Buda against Cotton Sport of Garoua. Both teams qualified after a very tight and rugged competition and qualifying series. So what is happening is that Bambutus has requested to Fekafood that they have a very huge following, and they are requesting the Fekafood to take the final game between themselves and Cotton Sport of Garoua to the Olembe Stadium, because they say that the Amadio Hijo Stadium will not be able to contain all the Bambutus fans. So they are requesting that they should take that final to the Olembe Stadium so that they can deliver in terms of popularity and in terms of the turnout of the spectators. The Bambutus Football Club has always been described as a people's club, and it's shown over the past 3 seasons that whenever they came out for the football match, the crowds, the fans came out in their numbers. And in fact, it was always a spectacle beside the game itself. So they hope and wish that Fekafood will be able to grant their request for the final game to be played at the Olembe Stadium. Whereas as far as Cotton Sport is concerned, Cotton Sport is looking forward to winning one more double. That will make it the 7th in the history. Cotton Sport has demonstrated that the only side that can be termed as a real professional club in Cameroon. And so we want to move from being described as a professional club to achieving. They're moving from ascriptions to achievements. So we expect that the Football Cup final that's going to pit Cotton Sport of Garoua to Bambutus Football Club will be a very popular one, provided, according to Bambutus fans, that final is taken to the Olembe Stadium, because they are saying that if you maintain the final at the Amadio Hijo Stadium, they can make sure that the entire stadium, except of course the VIP stands, will made only of Bambutus fans. So they want to take it to the Olembe Stadium, so that when they would have occupied, let's say, about 90% of the stadium, they can, or maybe 95, they can allow the other 5% in a very sportsmanly way to the fans of Cotton Sport of Garoua. So that's where they are. And when that final gets played, we're going to proceed to the next football season. For now, there is the Guinness Super League, which is the league for the ladies. It is getting to, I think you have 3 more playing days to the end of the season. And the league is living up to billing. The state-owned broadcaster, CRTV, is ensuring a regular coverage, live coverage on television of the top matches of the day. So football is not what you, Lambert, saw when you were here, I don't know how many years ago. It's an entirely different story now in Cameroon. You have the infrastructure, you have the fans coming back to the stadium, and you have football. The quality of the game has been raised to a certain point where fans have once more living what used to happen in the 80s and the 90s, when you used to have the Meme Wolves, the Kamak of Kumba, Kamak Bamede, and so on and so forth, playing in the first division championship then.
I want to be on record that my favorite team is Pete Tonton of Bamenda, because when I was in the seminary, we came out every time to watch them. But I'm wondering what is happening to the big names, Canon Sportif, Tonnerre, and all those other. I don't even know that Tonnerre is still there. But what is happening to them? Because seemingly Cotton Sport has been dominating for forever.
No, it's as easy as this. When you do your homework, it shows in the final product. So Cotton Sport, over the years, have come together to integrate football management and the playing of football as part of the Cotton Sport family and is part of the Cotton Sport ideals. That is not being the same thing with Canon and Tonnerre. Canon and Tonnerre, it's a shame that so many years back, I traveled to Cairo and I saw the headquarters of Al Ali. I saw the headquarters of Zamalek. It was a shame. Canon Sportif don't have a training ground what they saw. Tonnerre, Calara Club don't have a training ground what they saw. But those are teams in years gone by that called the shots on the African continent. So whoever did whatever money was coming to the coffers of the clubs because of their performance on the continental scene is still left to be answered as a question. So those other teams who knew, they had a dream, they had a sense of mission, they had the foresight, they had the focus of what they wanted. If you go to those countries, you will see the kinds of infrastructure, you see the kinds of things that represent the names that rub shoulders with the Canons and the Tonos of yesteryears. The year in Cameroon, everybody says that when money is available, it's money for the pocket and not money to build and encourage the flourishing of infrastructure in the country. So I think that is what is the lot of Canon and Tonnerre today.
Yes, and there was again, we don't do politics on this show, but there's something about Young Sports Academy. What is happening to the teams from the English-speaking region? Are they finally making their name in the national scene? Because seemingly looking at the league table, it seems as if Young Sports Academy this year they are 9th. I don't know what other team is there from the English-speaking side, but what is happening to the other teams?
Right. Lambert, I don't quite get what you were saying. Can you just paraphrase all of what you've just said now? There still has been some trouble with the audio connection. Can you take it over?
I was just asking about the teams. We don't do politics on this show, and I was just saying what is happening to the teams from the English-speaking region, like Young Sports Academy. As usual, they don't seem to make their mark, so I don't know where they are currently.
What you are saying, but I think you were trying to tell me that I think from the beginning of your statement, you were saying that we are not talking politics on this show, and that you're talking about the teams from the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, why they don't seem to measure up. I think the reason is very simple. Football management means money. Now, what is happening is that in those regions of the country, you don't have those industries that can increase on the purchasing power of the ordinary Cameroonian in those regions. So if they don't have a high purchasing power, they will not be able to inject any money in the management and sponsorship of football or sports in general. So I get to understand, therefore, that on this other part of the country, where you have industries, you have a higher bargaining power, you have a stronger financial power, people can afford to use money to inject into things like sports and football. So that is why, for example, if you went over to the English-speaking part of the country, you will discover that the teams that actually tended to survive were teams that were being managed by some of those few companies dotted here and there. But if you don't have the company there to make enough money to circulate in the society, enough money in people's pockets, enough money in their hands to ensure enough financial power, they will not be able to understand this whole philosophy of having to put money in sports. So I get you. As far as I'm concerned, I think that is the main reason why football clubs on that other side of the country, of the divide, don't quite feature in some of these things. But what I've discovered is that where money has failed to produce a magic, there is a sound managerial approach that is being used to produce a magic. So if you look at some of the teams, like for example, if you look at PW Bamenda today, I was able
again, due to some technical difficulties, I don't know what is happening with Fon's. Fon, can you hear me?
So I was still talking before I had this cut, that if you look at the PW Bamenda that of Cameroon final last year, they got to that point because of sound management. I understand it's because of sound management. What money could not do, managerial skills did. So that explains why, if they don't have the high purchasing power, the strong financial power, enough money circulating in the society to be able to encourage individuals to put that money in sports and in football in particular, they are using now their managerial approach and a strong sense of moral probity to do the management the way it should be done for them to get to where they are. So if they can't feature where money is required, I think just share administrative savvy and they share love for achieving something for their people pushes them to get to where they are when they do score the points.
So there's a question here which is kind of, I mean, I'll leave it up to your discretion. There's Mr. Ayon who is asking why all the vice people in Eto's appointments, why Anglophones
Yeah,
are only
sound.
being.
That breaks again. Your sound. I can't quite get you.
So Mr. Ayon is asking why the Eto's appointments have Anglophones serving as vice, and there's none that is in a kind of a top position. So again.
Well, now, I don't know. I don't know whether it's been decided upon that the Anglophones should be the vice in the various positions of responsibility where you have the front man and the assistant. I don't know why it was by fate or design. It happens to be that way. That's why we discovered that is happening. Now, but I also remember that Simo Augustine in the under 23 squad, I think the Olympic squad, he is the man in charge and he has a francophone now as his assistant. In the main squad, there is Rigobert Song, assisted by his other kind. In the Olympic squad, Simo Augustine comes, and now in this intermediate squad, there is Alium Saidu, and then there's Pius Gefi. I just think that it's maybe by fate. I wouldn't say it's by design, but whoever does those appointments, like we said some time ago, is doing the appointments because he wants to achieve results. Now, I imagine that if Lambert were to manage this program, the Lambom show, if he wants to manage it to produce results, what he will do is that he will take those decisions that will give him the results. He will not take decisions that will make him fail. So I want to assume and give whoever are doing the appointments the benefit of the doubt that whatever decisions they're taking is for the best interest of the country. Until it doesn't happen that way, then we can come close to them with our micro is happening in the various football movements in this country.
Well, that's a debate that you and I can have offline because we can press something else. But I mean, let's again. We finished up last week talking about the Total Energies Women's African Cup of Nations, and I think we are now.
Yet another break again, Lambert.
Can you hear me?
Yet another break. I can't get you.
I don't know why this thing is.
I didn't get you. What did you say?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can get you now.
Okay, so I was saying that after finishing the African Cup of Nations, I think the teams are now preparing for the World Cup. And I'm wondering, Fecafoot, how is Fecafoot preparing the Cameroon team for the World Cup, if any?
I can't quite get you, but because you hinted at this before the start of the program, you were talking about the preparations for the World Cup and for Cameroon and for the other African participants. I imagine that's what you're talking about. Well, there is something happening at that the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, vowed that Cameroon will reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. And if you are vowing and are trying to convince people to believe in you, they must do everything on the promise.
So I imagine that the problem was not really me, maybe Fon. Check your connectivity again, Fon. Hello, Fon, are you there? I hope he's able to. Today has really been a bad day for this show because we have had real connectivity issues. And again, we are asking if there are any people who can help us with this, please. Yes, Fon.
Ahmed?
Yes.
Maybe at this juncture, we just have to tell viewers that promise today is really unusual. Then you food presidents that Cameroon must reach. And if you are swearing that you're going to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup, it means that you have what it takes to reach the semi-finals. And one of the things they should be doing is to be scouting those talents that will make them click in the course of the tournament. Now, what Cameroon should count
Okay, I think the gods of soccer are not with us today. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the poor quality of the sound and the connectivity issues. I don't know what the problem is. Are you back, Fon?
So I don't know whether you're on, Lambert.
I am on. I
Are you
can see
getting
you
me?
and I can hear you. Yes.
Lambert, are you getting me?
Yes, I can get you. Can you get me?
Okay. I'm not getting you. Neither am I saying you. But what I'm saying is that you were talking about looking ahead of the World Cup finals. You have 5 teams from Africa with 22 participations in between them and 3 quarterfinal appearances. For a team like Cameroon are going to the World Cup for the 8th participation. I will play in Group G with Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland. Unlike the Serbia and Switzerland, Cameroon played against Brazil before, and they were humiliated 3 times. Cameroon was humiliated by Brazil in 2014 when Brazil hosted the World Cup. They were humiliated by Brazil in the United States of America. And if Cameroon has been humiliated by Brazil, it gives them a terrible psychological setback against Brazil. Now, they're going to be looking at how to challenge Serbia and Switzerland. Now, so what are they trying to do? They will therefore have to look for the required human resources to be able to deliver when it comes to the World Cup finals when they take on their Group G opponents. What has happened so far is that Son Bahanak, the head coach of the Cameroon team, and the president of the federation, Samuel Eto'o, have been going around the world and scouting for some of the talents. And one talent they've been able to have has come from Brentford. That is Brian Mbeumo, who has had 3 caps with the French under-20 squad and 7 caps with the French under-21 squad. But now, concerning the national team of Cameroon or France, the young man has decided to play for Cameroon. He has had 8 goals to his credit with 7 assists in 38 matches of the English Premier League. So those are the kinds of talents that Samuel Eto'o, as the president of Feka Food, and Son Bahanak, as the coach of the national team of Cameroon, are going around scouting for. They need those talents to be able to rise up to the occasion. They need those talents to see the prophecy of Eto'o of Cameroon reaching the semi-finals of the World Cup to come true. That is for Cameroon. Look at Morocco. Morocco will be having a seat appearance at the World Cup finals. In the 5 previous appearances, they only once reached the round of 16. So in 4 appearances, they left the tournament in the first round. This time around, Morocco will play against Belgium, Croatia, and Canada. Well, if we have to give the benefit of the doubt, we might say that Morocco could have their way against Canada. But against Croatia and Belgium, they'll need to call for a bone cracker. Tunisia are going to be playing in Group D with France, Denmark, and Peru. They have always been exited in the first round of the tournament. They've always left the competition in the first round of the tournament. Would it be a different ball game in their seat appearance? That is the question we're asking. Ghana are going to be in their fourth appearance at the World Cup finals. They're going to play alongside Portugal, Uruguay, and South Korea. Wow, that's terrible. In fact, once they reach the second round of the tournament, and against Uruguay, they almost reached the semifinals. I still remember that last penalty kick that was going to be taken by Asamoah Gyan in 2010. I was standing somewhere behind the goalpost where the shot was going to be taken. And as the African continent held their breath, Gyan Asamoah came and did just like an African. In quotes, you know what I mean by that. They trifled a golden opportunity down the drain. So will they be able to rise to the occasion when they meet Portugal, Uruguay, and South Korea? That's a tough one there for them. Now, as fate will have it, it is the most performing side amongst the 5 African representatives, Senegal, that seems to have the best bit in the best thing from the bargain. What is happening is that Senegal is going to be in their third participant. They'll play against Qatar in their first World Cup appearance. They'll play against Ecuador, against the Netherlands. So I can imagine that Senegal, Ecuador, Senegal, Qatar should be for the Africans. But against the Netherlands, well, that would be a different ball game. So, and you remember that Senegal are one of the 3 sides that have reached the quarterfinals of the World Football Cup competition. In Russia 2018, they left the tournament at the group stage. Question, what chances do we give Senegal? They are going to be going to the World Cup with a number of things in their favor. One, they have the momentum of having been the African Cup winners for this year. 2, they are going to the World Cup with the momentum of having grabbed 5 awards in the recent African awards for football. So Senegal are riding a trough. They are riding a crest in this in as far as football is concerned right now. So that momentum is going to help them go on to the tournament. But there is a flip side to it too, because you are going to the tournament as the best African side, and the opponents, they know that Africa has always come to the World Cup with that surprise result, that surprise performance. And they know that the side that is most equipped to produce that kind of result is going to be Senegalese side. So the opponents that are going to meet at the World Cup are going to be playing and fighting for every blade of the grass and every inch of the field to the best of their ability. So while they have what we can call relatively weak opponents, the flip side of it is those opponents are coming knowing that they're coming to meet the giant. So they're coming well prepared. So looking at what it's gone before, the 5 participants in this year's finals, one could say that Senegal has the best chance of making it through, whereas Cameroon are banking on the words, submissions, and utterances of the managerial staff and administrative staff of the national team to go through. We are going to reach the semi-finals. So question, Mr. Rigobert Song-Bahana, Mr. Samuel Eto'o, have we put together the techno-tactical argument to let the prophecy come true? Cameroonians are waiting, and are waiting very anxiously.
And the last time we talked about this, we also indicated, can you hear me better now?
I'm getting you.
Yes, we also indicated that the Cameroon soccer team that we have currently is not the best.
Well, once more, you've gone off. I can't quite get you.
So I was commenting about the Cameroon soccer team. The current team is not the best.
Yes, we said they were not at the best, yeah?
So what areas do you think they need to work on in order to improve on the team? What particular aspects of the team do you think they should be focusing on?
The response to that question is very simple, Lambert. Look for the required manpower, the required human resources that can stand up to the challenge. Look for the attackers who can score the goals as soon as the opportunities come up. Look for the midfielders who can dominate at midfield and provide the assists for the attackers. Look for the defenders who can provide the necessary steric hindrance at the defense to prevent goals from coming in. And look for the competent and confident goalkeeping department or the goalkeepers of the goalkeeping department who can ensure that reaching or touching the mantle of the Cameroonian net will not be an easy affair. So what I'm simply saying is that what they need to do is to summon each and every player who plays football for a major camp and select the best who can deliver the goods. Short of that, you can forget about dreaming.
Wouldn't that be unfair to the people who qualified the team?
Well, Lambert, you are talking about the qualification of a team. You have qualified to go to the war. Now you are at the war front. Are you going to rely permanently on the soldiers who did so much to reach the get out all the energy, and maybe they may be showing some signs of fatigue or a lot of shortcomings and still maintain them? No, that's not the thing. Qualification is one thing. The final game is another. That's why they call it the finals. We have qualified, now we're getting to the finals. There are some players who are meant to qualify a team. There are some players who are meant to go and now face the world in what they can call the World Football War. Those are two different kinds of players, even though a few of them feature as convinced and valiant disciples of both the qualifications and the finals. We've come to the point where you just need the best to be able to deliver.
So I'm sure we put this to rest already, but let me ask you one more time. Is Cameroon going to participate at the World Cup?
I still can't quite get you right now.
I'm asking that we talked about this because some people are still hoping that Algeria may be staging something to turn the cards for Cameroon. Has that been laid to rest?
Lambert, for the respect of our viewership, I will still come back to it. I think this is the third time we're talking about that. As far as the matter concerning Cameroon and Algeria is concerned, let's start from square one. In the battle for Bleeder, referee Bakari Guest is not suggesting that he intentionally did things to qualify Cameroon as is being dishonest. He was not at his best. And as far as I'm concerned, maybe another referee or a Gassama in his best of performances might not have taken that match to the extra time that he went through. But now to start telling us that he intentionally did things to qualify Cameroon, I doubt it very much. There were decisions he took that favored Cameroon, decisions he took that favored Algeria. They went both ways. But now to say that intentionally he went to the field that day to qualify Cameroon for the World Cup is not true. I don't see how anybody at all can demonstrate that. Now, that has come and gone. The Algerians were not satisfied with the way the match was handled. The first thing they did was that they did not respect the delay to table the protest. And once that is not done from where go, you lost the case. That is not all. FIFA has gone ahead and drawn the teams into the various pools, have invited them to come and choose where the various teams are going to be living for the competition, have hosted the flags of all the teams qualified for the tournament. There is no way the Cameroon flag will be taken away for the Algerian flag to be installed in its place. No way. The matter is over. Point. Let Algeria prepare for the next World Cup finals.
So since we talked about the referees, there's some new thing. CAF appointed a new boss for referees. So let's get into that. And what is your assessment of are the referees currently doing better?
Once more, there's difficulty in me getting what they are saying. We are talking already about the referees. Well, I think CAF had sworn under the chairmanship of Dr. Patrice Motsepe that they were going to make the African game not only competitive, but make it clean In other words, they've said that they were going to make sure that appointed to handle matches. Best women are appointed to handle matches. That explains definitely why during the recent Women's Africa Cup of Nations, the video and all of the matches were handled by women. So CAF is trying to restart the game.
Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. Fon, connectivity issues. We continue to plead with the gods. So again, Fon, if you are back, we are hoping that Fon will be able to reconnect. And here it comes. Can you hear me, Fon?
So I say CAF is trying to raise the standard of the game and also trying to raise the quality of the game. When paid a courtesy call Nigerian Football Federation recently, and one more time they seized the opportunity of his presence to raise their voices again on how they thought refereeing on the African continent was so corrupt. He decided to dismiss from his position of responsibility Mr. Eddie Mayer from the Seychelles and appointed an Ivorian professional pharmacist by name Desiree Doué as a new man in charge of refereeing on the African continent. Now, refereeing at CAF. So he's in charge of the referees commission at CAF. So Mr. Doué will be expected to give back the luster of African refereeing, which has been tainted by the situation under the stewardship of Eddie Mayer. So they are not leaving anything to chance. They want Africa to have the best in terms of the way the game is managed. They have struggled at the level of infrastructure. They're awarding the hosting of the competition to the countries that are best ready or best equipped to host the competition. They are coming up with rules and regulations on how to make the quality of the various competitions reach a certain level, an appreciable level that can compete with the same competition elsewhere in the world. So at the level of refereeing too, that is what they are doing. So that's what explains the latest decisions by the president of CAF, Mr. or Dr. Patrice Motsepe. So one more time on the Lambom show would say kudos to CAF for trying to put in just what is required to make the game truly a competitive global product.
So again, is it just lack? Is it lack of training for the referees, or what is really the problem? I mean, what is the problem of refereeing in Africa? Well, I don't think it's just in Africa, because with soccer, there's always a problem.
It's still difficult in getting what you're saying, Lambert. Can you come again?
I was asking, what is really the problem with refereeing in Africa? Is it just that we can't come up with good ones, or what is the problem?
I still cannot get that question. I don't know whether you're talking about the refereeing or not, but I can't quite get you. You're still having breaks in your speech. I don't know. Maybe you have to maybe try to paraphrase.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Fon?
But the sound quality has detected is gone far below the one you had. I can't quite get you. I can see your picture, but I can't quite get you. Are you taking over it?
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Fon?
Now my work is telling me that there is some unstable networking here, so I don't know.
Okay, I think maybe for the sake of at least we tried on today, we are going to try to correct these things for our next broadcast. But I want to thank Fon. It's not been easy today getting him. I think we all have connectivity issues, even on my side. If you cannot hear me, but I can hear him. So I think it's important for us to thank him for the work that he's doing for us. I want to thank all those who came online today. I want to thank Mr. Lucius Fu. Um, Fon, are you back? Can you hear us? Yeah, like he said, we need to please the gods of Manfaco to give us better network. Thank you, Father Morris. I like that authoritative way of talking about the complaint of Algeria and their last match with Cameroon. Did you all appease the gods of Manfaco? Yes, we did. We did. We did. I can tell you that we did. I don't know. The gods need some more bribe. But again, I want to thank you for your contribution. Aloysius Fru donated towards the support of getting us some connectivity on the ground. So we want to acknowledge that support, and we hope that is going to help to improve on the quality of the program. I also want to acknowledge the support of Mr. Jude Ozugen. He too donated towards making sure that we have connectivity, even though it's been a problem today. As we move on and we try to improve on this, we hope that many more people will come to support us. Please go on YouTube channel, The Lambom Show, subscribe, like, and share. And if you can, we are always open to suggestions, always open to whatever contributions people can make in order to make sure that we get better. So because I can't see Fon again, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all. We'll come back again next Saturday, and I promise next Saturday we'll be on time and we would have sorted out the connectivity issues. Once again, it's been the Lambom Show, African Soccer Vibes with veteran journalists Fon Echekiye. Thank you all. Have a great weekend and see you next week.